Wrong.
I'm right.
Oh, don't I know?
Oh, yeah.
All right, bring up one more topic, and then we'll finish it off, I think.
Okay. You were interested in this one, so let's talk about temporary solutions.
Ooh, very excited for this.
And this can go on a grander scale of, just instead of, it's bad, or, instead of, trying to cover up problems, then fix them for good kind of thing. And this can go into many aspects of life.
Yeah. So you want to actually try to get to the root of the problem and solve it instead of
pull out the root. Don't cut the plant.
Yeah. So do you have any analogies for this, or just comparisons, examples?
Okay, you were interested in talking about this, so I'll mention this first to get us going. In an earlier podcast, I think it was the first one, we were talking about a depressed individual, unspecified.
Yep.
And how taking a antidepressant or something like that, medication, kind of messes up his brain chemistry, which in this specific analogy, we were talking about who's the one committing suicide, him or his altered brain.
Yes.
So that kind of fits into this long-running debate. Everyone seems to get heated about this for whatever reason. But let's say medication or general stuff like antidepressants, even pretty much anything pharmaceutical, just things that alter your body's chemistry.
Yep.
They're all temporary solutions. Are they good to have? Are they bad? In what situations? Something I've commonly heard, which I pretty agree with, in another channel I really like, Psyched Substance and Swim. It's the same guy, just he has two different channels. He talks about how certain things, I think it was called Xanax or something, some sort of chemical that kind of made him calm. It was really helpful to take, but he purposefully took a smaller dose than what his psychiatrist told him to take, just because he didn't want to get addicted to it, because he knew if he did, it would just go diminishing returns, and he'd have to keep upping the dosage, so he didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
So in a situation like that, I think temporary solutions would be very bad to do.
Mm-hmm.
But in the way he was specifically using it, where he was only taking it when he really needed it and not just all the time.
Yeah, like they want you to.
Yeah, like they want you to. He took it a bit so that he wouldn't get diminishing returns or whatever, and he wouldn't get addicted at all. So yeah. I think that was really good of him.
Do you know any, or did he talk about anything along the lines of what he did to I guess get through it or sustain it, maintain it?
Well, okay. Wait, you mean what did he do specifically to not make it go overboard?
Yeah. What would he have done to actually get to the main problem instead of just the temporary fix?
Okay. I think I get what you mean. Yeah.
What if he wasn't taking the medication all the time? What else did he do to help himself get better? Is what I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think I get what you mean. So this specific guy,
yep.
He has ADHD, and he never wanted to take ADHD medication because he knew the obvious, or not obvious, but there are some bad side effects to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really want to get into what those side effects are because they're always different for every different medication. But he didn't really want to deal with that, so he wanted to do a more natural thing. I think it was Xanax. I'd have to look it up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically a herb that I think he either ingested it, smoked it, or had in tea, something like that.
Okay.
And it will make you more calm and focused. And what the psychiatrist wanted him to do, I think she wanted him to take I think 1 to 4 doses every day, something like that. But what he didn't said, he took half that, and it was every other day or every few days.
Yeah.
Because he is very knowledgeable on substance use. He's pretty much an expert. So he knew that taking it the amount that she wanted him to would definitely get him addicted.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's just really interesting.
Yeah, so for a long period of time he did it for months, I think. She never figured it out that he was doing that. Eventually, actually, this would go into a different topic. We'll talk about that later. I'm actually going to write that down.
All right, awesome. The main thing, I don't want to cut you off. Do you have something else to say?
No, go for it. I'm going to write something down.
The main thing I'll say about depression, it's not something I really like talking about, I guess. First of all, I've never been depressed in my life. I'm lucky enough to have not been affected by it. But I was one of those people who didn't really understand that it was actually a mental disorder for a while. It's actually a serious off balance of chemicals in your brain and stuff, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
I just sort of thought it was people who were this is back when I was 15, 16, but I was one of those people who thought it was just an attention thing, so people would just get sad and make a big deal out of it. And then I very quickly learned after making some pretty ludicrous statements to people that that is not the case at all. It's actually a pretty serious thing that can affect people's lives. And it's 100% just an illness, a sickness. It's just like getting sick in any other way. It's really hard to control. But yeah.
Yeah, I think or at least most people will, most of the time in their teenage years, because hormones and whatnot off balance all the time, then most people probably experience some form of depression at one point in their life or another.
I'm lucky to have dodged it. But yeah.
Oh, really? You did?
I've never really been depressed in that way. I've definitely been upset for a few days, but
by depressed I just mean for a prolonged period of time. You just don't feel the best, and that's even a less serious. I've heard of you probably have too, of the more serious ones where you just can't feel anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never gotten that, thank God, but I have definitely gotten the less serious one, or just for a long time.
You're just you're borderline incapable of feeling happiness or even sadness sometimes. You just can't feel.
Yeah.
You just are.
I've definitely had a bit of that towards the end of high school.
Yeah.
That was terrible.
I'm one of the lucky ones. And I was definitely just going through that teen angst stage where you just think you know everything and you fucking question nothing. Obviously I didn't do any research at all. I didn't look up what depression actually does to your head. I was just oh, it's just a bunch of pussies being sad, right guys? High five.
You saying that, knowing everything and all, makes me laugh so much. Because I definitely had a very bad case of that in grade 12. Oh God.
Of what? Of just agreeing with everything, or of depression?
No, it didn't have to do with depression. It was more I think I know everything.
Yeah.
Or stuff like that. And I'm very glad that ended, thank God.
Nobody wants to listen to that guy. The only people
I never really spoke to anyone, but
if you think about it, even the people who act like that don't like hearing another person who's like that talk. You know what I mean?
No, definitely.
When you have somebody like that who just knows everything and they just can't be wrong, the only person on the planet who enjoys listening to them talk is themselves. Every other person is uncomfortable and doesn't want to fucking be there.
It's kind of funny. Even I appreciate when I did that. I just did it for some reason.
You appreciate it?
I did not appreciate myself when I did that.
Yeah, I
just still did it.
Yeah. Is that all we have to say about depression medication and temporary fixes?
Maybe.
I should have used my brain.
But one thing I did want to bring up though.
Yeah.
This also has to do with that guy I was talking about, swim, like substance guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's an amazing guy. Even if you just watch a few of his videos, especially the second channel where he's personal, he's an amazing guy.
Which one's the second channel?
Many. Swim.
Is the second one cool?
Yeah. Okay. So he talked about at a time of his life. So he was very. He had a very bad addiction with alcohol abuse.
Okay.
So to combat that, temporary solution. He used a drug. I think it's technically a psychoactive drug called MDMA or ecstasy.
Yes, yeah.
And if you guys don't know what that is, it's basically, it makes you really happy and agreeable, happy, extroverted and whatnot. If I'm going to oversimplify it.
Yep.
So whenever he wanted to do alcohol or something, he took MDMA instead. So he got addicted on that instead. And then I can't remember what he took after that, but he took something else, except this time he wasn't doing it in a temporary solution way. He was doing it more the way with the Xanax, where he just took it very short amounts.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yep.
So it wouldn't do diminishing returns. So he did that after a long time, so he would not be addicted to MDMA or alcohol anymore. And it worked. It took a long time, but he was finally cured. I thought it was, that's very, if you wanted to actually know more about that, you just look at his channel. He definitely explained it better than I just did.
No, that still sounds cool. So,
yeah.
Pretty much he was addicted to alcohol and then ecstasy.
Then he took another drug and got addicted to that to cure alcohol.
Did he talk about his process of just not being addicted to things? Or is he still addicted to something now?
No, he's not addicted. He hasn't been addicted for anything in a long time. And I could never explain to any extent of how and why here. Because he has, hours of just videos on length talking about that kind of stuff. That if you're interested in that, definitely check the channel out. Amazing channel. And he's a really amazing guy.
Ecstasy sounds pretty awesome and pretty dangerous.
Ecstasy sounds like a great drug if you're going to parties. Yeah. But if you want to just have an introverted experience, I would not recommend taking it. Or, don't take it at all if you're going to abuse it. Or don't take it at all if it's illegal in your country.
Yeah, everybody just have fun with all the drugs you want. That's what I say. Drugs are cool with a capital K.
Yeah, like anything in life, it's good if you don't abuse it.
Yeah, you can really take too much of anything when you think about it.
Yeah.
Even hugs.
No, I think you can have as many hugs as you want.
I think there's definitely an overboard for hugs.
I definitely need more hugs.